up at 3 a.m. because I was supposed to go to school around 6:36, but I would wake up at 3 in the night. Then when I wake up, I would go to the church. And I remember the church, that church used to be called the Elim Pentecostal Church, the first church I went to. So when I went to church at 3, the askari had closed the gate. So when I went, he asked me, what are you looking for at this time? This is a very dangerous time. And I told him I want to go to pray. He said this is not a time for praying because even the gate was closed. So I would kneel down there in the night and start praying. But the coming days, I would find when the askari had opened the gate for me to enter. And when I entered, I would go into the church. My thinking was that maybe when I'm in the church alone, God will come. He cannot come when all people are there. So I would enter in the church and kneel down. There was just darkness, the lights are off. And I would pray, and my prayer was, I want to see God. I want to meet Him. And all that time, for sure, I cannot tell you that I saw anything, but I believed that I would see God. And it took time. My prayer was, I wanted to see God. Because in churches, I would see many things happening, and I would feel inside something's wrong. For example, I remember there is a time a pastor came to preach, and he was preaching while putting the hands in the pocket. So in my heart I thought, really, if we are really giving glory to God, can a servant of God talk to us about God, or even talk to God with their hands in the pocket? That was in my heart. And I felt that if I cannot talk with my Father with the hands in the pocket, or even the teachers at school, could this not be disrespecting God? I felt something was not good. So I remember that was around senior 1 third term, then senior 2. It was in senior 5. Because my search continued, I would read the Bible, and many times I would get dreams but not understand them. But the very first time, an encounter that I understood that now God is answering me, it was in HSC. I was in a school called the East High School in Ntinda. And the very first encounter that happened, I was sleeping. When I was sleeping, I was in the dormitory. And then when I was sleeping, I was sleeping on my back, on the back, then facing up. Then what happened is that I felt so weak. I felt the whole body was very weak. When the whole body was very weak, I felt the veins inside. I felt they are paining from the head to the legs. I would feel my whole body, whether in the hands, in the legs, in the chest, in the head. I would feel the pain moving the way the veins move. I would feel that the pain is moving. In my heart, I knew these are the veins. But I was so weak that I could not even raise my hand to touch any part of me. I could not shake. I could not do anything for anyone to, even for myself, to know that I was still alive. Then when I have felt this body weakness, I remember I focused on now feeling what is happening inside me. And then I remember the eyes I was looking, I was opening the eyes wide, but then I started feeling like as if something is coming to cover my eyes. They were wide looking, but I started not to see well until a point I could not see anything completely. But in my heart, I would feel my surrounding. For example, if someone passed by, I would know someone is passing by. By this time, I was feeling the whole body was weak. And then I remember I started feeling my heart pumping like I've never had the heart pump. Because before, I knew my heart was pumping, like if I touch here, I would feel. But that moment, I felt the heart was pumping like someone can hit a hammer nearby your ear. The sound was so much, and it was so painful. Only that I was weak, but I felt that I wanted to bring my hand and touch exactly where the heart is and press there. But I was so weak. But I felt that it was possible for me to put my hand to push it where the heart is, because the pain was so much and so loud. And then I remember that I started feeling cold. And I knew that when someone is dying, the coldness starts from the nails, the fingers, and the toes. That is where the coldness starts, and you feel the coldness, you really feel it. So I started feeling the coldness coming up. How I knew the coldness was coming up from the nails, the toes coming up, a time reached when I could not feel my lower part, like from the legs going down. I would feel only around my heart, even the hands. Inside me, I knew I was dying. But the heart, the way it was pumping, inside me, I knew the heart is struggling to pump, to keep me alive. And then what happened is that I started sensing inside me that it was easier for me to breathe in than to breathe out. I would feel myself breathing in slowly, but outside, I would not feel myself. It is like when I breathed in, it is like it just goes through. And when I try to breathe out, I would not feel anything. So I was asking myself inside, maybe I'm dying. So actually, I knew I was dying. And then I tried to breathe. And then when I used a lot of energy, I breathed out. But the energy I used, I knew that I'm breathing my last. All these were happening. I was on the bed, in the bedroom, and I was wishing that someone would come around and find me at least. Maybe someone would help me, would touch me, would see me, what I'm going through. And I remember the heart kept pumping. But this hitting, this pumping in the heart, a time came when the way it was pumping, it would like pump and stop and pump. I would feel it inside. And it was making a lot of noise. You know, a noise like a hammer. When someone hits a hammer near your ear here, that is what I was feeling inside me. I didn't know the heart could be that loud. And then I remember, after breathing that last, immediately after breathing that last, I started very fast remembering my life at school. It is like I was seeing a movie of myself. I started remembering, because when I became born again, at school, in the evening after classes, most people would go to the playground to play football. So me, I would come nearby the playground, and I would start preaching the gospel to those who are sitting around. And I remember it wasn't easy to approach people to tell them about Christ. I would first inquire from someone, hello, good evening. Is it okay if I share with you about Christ Jesus? Some people would agree, some people would refuse, but those who would agree, I would sit, and I remember normally I told them about Jesus and that verse where Peter walked on water when he was looking at Jesus. But the moment Peter looked away from Jesus, he started sinking in the water. When he started seeing the waves, the water, then he started sinking. And I normally preach so much about that part. And I was telling people that the moment you put your eyes away from Jesus, you start sinking into this world. So at that time when I'm sleeping on the bed on my back, and that time I don't feel my hands, I don't feel my legs, the heart is pumping and then stopping, and I had breathed the last. I remember that time I started only remembering what I used to preach. It's like I was seeing myself moving around the playground, telling people about Jesus, and I used to remember myself how people would laugh at me, because at school, normally, some people actually thought I was mad, because I insisted on asking people, I want to meet God one-on-one. And whenever I would find a verse in the Bible that talks about that you can see God, I would write on my uniform, I would write with a pen, Jesus is Lord. Whenever I would find something, I would write something, Jesus is Lord. Whenever I felt I'm coming closer to meeting God, I would write on my uniform, Jesus is Lord. So a time came when I had written on almost my whole shirt. It was a white shirt, and then a trouser. We used to put on a short trouser. It was called Mengo Senior School. They used to put on a short trouser. I would write, and the time came when I had written on my trouser, my shirt, my bag, my shoes. So because of that, some people thought I was mad, because when I washed, the ink would not easily come out of the uniform. It will remain. So some teachers said I'm mad. I remember there's another teacher who used to call me Actually, most teachers used to call me Jesus is Lord. When they were calling me in class, they would say, where is Jesus is Lord? Because it is what I had written all over the uniform. So at that time I was on the bed. These are the things that were coming to me. I would see myself. But these memories, they were so alive that it was beyond remembering. Because that time I was just sleeping like this. My eyes were not seeing. But in my heart, it was so alive. It was like I was seeing myself moving at school, preaching, and it was so alive. And then what happened? That very moment, when I felt that inside me, I knew I was dying. That very moment, I felt something around my head here. I felt like there is a force that is digging here and wants to make like a hole. But I was so weak, I couldn't raise my hand like to touch on my head here. But I felt I really wanted to touch my head to see what is happening. Because I felt like a whole force. I felt like all the energy in my body was now concentrated here. And then I remember that what I was remembering when I'm preaching, it was so alive. It was so alive. And then I remember, I knew that what I was remembering was now coming out of me from here up. I knew that. And I knew what I was remembering. It is like when you are seeing yourself like in a
mirror.
Like in a mirror. But it is like a movie. You see yourself moving here and there, and all of a sudden you see that movie coming out of you from here. And I was not seeing, but I was knowing this is what is happening. And immediately, I remember immediately, I felt the heart, there is a way the heart was pumping, then stop. The moment the heart stopped pumping, because I would not feel it again, I would not feel that hammering like a hammer. The moment it stopped, then whatever I was thinking, it came out of me from here. And I felt it coming. I would feel that it is coming out. I would feel that it is like for example, when you can touch on gum, and then you pull, like for example, like gum, something elastic, and you pull it. I feel that is what is coming out of me here, and it is almost pulling my skin. I felt that it is coming from inside me.
Kind of painful.
No, it was not painful, but I was just knowing that this is what is happening, and I would feel something is coming out. And when it came out, I knew that when it came out, it was like smoke. And because it was like smoke, it started going upwards. When it started going upward, just like smoke, it was like, I felt like smoke is coming out of me, but it is rising. But in me, I knew that maybe there could come someone around and they could help me. Then when these, it's like thoughts, but they were so alive. When they came out of me, inside me, I knew that they were now rising up. I knew what was happening around me, but I couldn't raise one hand, I couldn't shake, I couldn't do anything to show the people around that I'm alive. But I knew it was rising up like smoke. And then I knew it was rising up, going straight like smoke, like when you can burn something, it was going up. And then I knew when it went up, I knew that in heaven, they knew I was coming. I just knew it inside me, that the moment these thoughts which are like smoke, the moment they reached in heaven, I knew those people in heaven, for them they could understand what I'm going through. And inside me, I knew that this is where the soul leaves the body. Because when these thoughts went out of me and they went up, immediately when they went up, I knew that now those in heaven have seen me. I just knew it inside me. And then when it went up, then I knew that beings of light, it was like I was seeing them. But the same way I was seeing these thoughts, I knew that beings of light are coming, following that very path of the smoke. They also came, that very path of the smoke, they also came, and they came near me. I was knowing this inside me.